السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا بكم من جديد في قناتي على اليوتيوب. إن شاء الله محاضرة النهاردة هتناقش موضوع مهم جدا لكل اللي بيقدم خدمات عبر الإنترنت في مجال اللغة أو في مجال العمل الحر بشكل عام. ليه الموضوع ده مهم؟ لأن محاضرة النهاردة هتتكلم عن أساسيات العمل عبر الإنترنت من المترجمين وتحسين محركات البحث وعمل صفحات أو ملفات احترافية عبر الإنترنت. معروف بديهيا ان الخدمات عبر الانترنت لازم يكون لها ملف احترافي يعبر عن مزود الخدمه او مقدم الخدمه دي. علشان كده الملف الاحترافي ده لازم يكون كل معلومه فيه دقيقه وكل معلومه فيه صحيحه وكل معلومه مقدمه بالشكل المناسب اللي يعبر او اللي يؤدي غرض، دون اسهاب او زياده في الكلام او دون اننا نذكر معلومات يعني غير حقيقية أو معلومات قد تضعنا في تساؤل أو تضعنا في محل شك من الطرف الثاني اللي هو الموظف أو صاحب العمل أو الريكروتر يعني. طيب علشان كده من الضروري إننا نقدر نعمل ملفات احترافية تعبر عنا وتعبر عن شغلنا والخدمات اللي احنا بنقدمها ومدى الجودة اللي بنقدمها ومدى اهتمامنا برضاء العميل وإلخ وهكذا يعني. طيب النهارده محاضرة مهمة جدا، عايزكم تتابعوها واحدة واحدة، تجيب النوت الجميلة بتاعتك وتبدأ تدون الملاحظات المهمة اللي هتقدر تستخدمها وتطبقها بعد كده، ولو عندك أي سؤال سيبه في التعليقات وإن شاء الله هرد عليك، وانتظروني في حلقات ومحاضرات جاية بإذن الله. استناكم في آخر الفيديو علشان لو أي حد عنده أي تساؤل أرد عليه، ولو ما لحقتونيش في الفيديو ده أو ما ردتش على تساؤلاتكم في الفيديو ده، إن شاء الله الفيديوهات الجاية تشوفوا ردود على تساؤلاتكم. سيب سؤالك في التعليقات وأنا إن شاء الله هرد عليك قريبا بإذن الله. ما تنساش تعمل لايك وسبسكرايب واشتراك في القناة عشان يوصلك كل جديد، ودعونا عشان نقدر إن شاء الله نستمر، وأشوفكم على خير. السلام عليكم. يلا بينا على المحاضرة.
And welcome to this session entitled Online Basics for Translators, SEO, Landing Pages, and more. Right, let's get started straight away. In this session, I'm going to be talking about why online is so important, why the activities that you carry out online, your website and so on, really are going to make a big difference to your overall business performance. I'm going to be going through on-page SEO, search engine optimization, and off-page SEO. We're going to be discussing landing pages and calls to action. We're going to be discussing your pros.com profile and ranking. I'm also going to be talking about how to test your site and what to do about all of this if you are not a developer. Now, it's probably important to highlight right at the outset that this presentation is designed to give you an overview. We're definitely not going to be getting into coding and things like that. I'm going to be focusing on practical tips that you can carry out, that you can put into practice in order to really improve your own website, your pros.com profile, and your overall online performance. Okay, so why is online so important anyway? Well, I mean, first of all, I'm going to assume that you have a website. I think that's the starting point for many of you. And if you don't have a website, I would just suggest that you really consider starting that website in WordPress or using WordPress. WordPress is an amazing content management system. It really is very easy to use, and there's so much information out there, so many tutorials, so many instructional videos and so on. So WordPress is a really popular system, and I've learned to love WordPress over the years, really because it is so easy to use, and you don't need to be a programmer or a developer in order to have a well-designed website. For sure, your website will help you to get new clients, and your website is really your main home online, the place where you can build your online reputation. But what we're going to see as we go through this presentation is it's not just any website that is going to work. And I think there was a trend some years ago towards people actually getting a website. A lot of small businesses started to have a website, whereas previously they may not have had one. And that was a step forward, but unfortunately, many of those websites are not really producing the results that they should, because it's one thing to put up a website and it's another thing to make sure that that website is really delivering results. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on here. So what is SEO anyway? Well, I think you all know that it stands for search engine optimization, but what does that really mean? Well, it's all about increasing the quality and the quantity of traffic to your site through organic search or search engine results. So not through paid results, through the natural or organic search results in Google mostly. Of course, there are other search engines, but we're really going to be focusing on Google, which is going to lead to the vast majority of traffic to your website. So it's about two things: quality of traffic and quantity of traffic. It's no use attracting loads and loads of traffic if it's from some kind of bot or from visitors who have absolutely no interest in your services. So quality is really important. And once we've got the quality sorted out, well then the ideal situation would be to increase that quantity. The higher the quantity, the higher the number of leads, and so on. Why is SEO important? Well, around 70% of web traffic starts with a web search. And if you're not appearing in the results, then that's not really going to lead to a positive result for you and your business. Websites on the first page of Google receive approximately 92% of all clicks, which means if you're not on the first page for a particular keyword, you really aren't anywhere. You really aren't going to get any significant traffic from Google if you are not on the first page for a particular keyword. Positions 1 to 3 get the lion's share of the clicks, approximately 60%. And apart from the number of clicks, the amount of traffic that is coming through to your website, SEO really helps to build trust, and it helps to really get higher quality traffic to your website. A potential client who sees that you are ranked in Google is going to have more trust in your services. Even if they then visit your site at a later date or through another portal or whatever it might be, they're going to have more trust in your site if you appear higher up in the Google search engine results. So that's why SEO is important. Let's have a look at the different types of SEO now, because we have on-page SEO and we have off-page SEO, and I'm sure they're terms that you've heard of, but what do they actually mean? Well, on-page SEO, as the name suggests, relates to everything that is actually on your web page, and that mostly refers to page content, also to any coding that is on your site. And it's all about your site. It's your site. You can control this. You can control exactly what goes on your site in terms of the content and in terms of the structure, in terms of the HTML, etc., etc. So that's on page. On page is all about optimizing those characteristics to make sure that you get as much high quality traffic as possible. So if you have great content, you're going to attract more traffic. If you have a good website that loads quickly, you're going to attract more traffic, and that's all completely under your own control. Off-page SEO, again, as the name suggests, is about everything that happens off your page. Well, what happens off your page? If you have high-quality content, people are going to link to that, but you don't completely control who links to and shares your site. This is something that is happening off your page, but the more great content that you can publish, the easier your website is to navigate and so on, the more people are going to link to your site and share your site and bookmark your site and so on. Local SEO is important as well. For example, appearing in local web directories or your Google My Business results as well. So that's off-page SEO, very briefly, everything that happens off your web page. Let's go into a bit more detail now on on-page SEO. I'm going to run through a number of different topics fairly quickly, and we're not going to cover everything, but I hope to be able to give you an idea of the sorts of things that you can do with your website in order to be able to get better results. I'm going to talk about content, about title tags, URLs, image optimization, a great UX or user experience, the Yoast plugin, and pros.com SEO. Many of the things that apply to your own website also apply to your pros.com profile in terms of SEO, so we'll be looking at that as well. So first of all, content. Well, content, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, content is king, and one of the main features of your website should be the high quality content that you are publishing, hopefully on a regular basis. If you are writing for a particular market, you are producing blog posts or videos or audio content for a particular market, and you use the right keywords, then that is going to attract traffic over time to your website. If you publish great content on a regular basis, people are going to be attracted, they're going to be interested in what you have to say, and they will visit your site and they will read your content or consume your content. They will share that content with others, and therefore content really makes up a big part of what goes on your website. It's no good having a perfectly optimized, super fast website if you don't have any good content on there. So I'll be talking about keywords and keyword density. I'll be talking about web copywriting, external links, and internal links. Let's have a look at keywords and keyword density first of all. Well, when you're writing for the web, it is a little bit different to writing an article in a magazine or writing a piece of literature, of course. So when we're writing for the web, we really want to bear in mind or keep in mind certain keywords. What keywords are you targeting in a particular piece of content or in a particular blog post? If you have the right keywords in a particular piece of content, then once Google has had a chance to recognize your content, when someone types in that keyword, your content is going to show up. Now, it might not show up in the first position on Google. It might take a lot of time to get high up in the Google rankings, but your content is going to be indexed and your content is going to show up if you have the right keywords. Now, you don't want to have too few keywords in a piece of writing because that's simply not going to be effective. And on the flip side, you don't want to have too many keywords. That can result in a text that is a little bit artificial. It doesn't really read very well. It's called keyword stuffing, and it's just where someone stuffs a bunch of keywords into a particular article. So it looks unnatural, but apart from looking unnatural, Google will also recognize or flag it as a piece of content that is trying to cheat, if you like, and trying to gain an unfair advantage by having too many keywords. So you don't want to try and game the system in any of this. You want to produce natural, normal content, but keep the keywords in mind because they are going to help you to stand out that little bit more. When you're writing for the web, and I know many of you are fantastic writers, but when you are writing for the web, it is advisable to think in different terms. So if you have written many articles for magazines or journals over the years, then writing for the web is a little bit different. And one of the reasons for that is that people tend to scan something on the web and they don't tend to read it in full. So that can lead to a different way of approaching things. Breaking the text up is really, really important. Having subheadings, really, really important. I would also suggest you write numbers and not as text. There are many style guidelines that say differently when you are writing articles, for example, but I really would recommend that you write numbers as numbers in web copy. And the reason for that is that they tend to stand out that little bit more when someone is scanning the document. But most of all, more important perhaps than those formatting or those layout guidelines, you should really be focused on writing texts that are relevant, that help to solve a problem, that are interesting and are shareable. It's no use writing about something that no one is interested in. And of course, you need to keep your target market in mind. What audience are you serving when you are writing a particular text? And what are you helping them with? What problem are you helping them to solve? Or what content are you sharing with them that is interesting and relevant and shareable? So definitely worth keeping that in mind. Another part of content writing is to include links. You should have both external and internal links within your content. An external link is a link from your site to another site, and you should link to other useful resources, obviously related to the topic about which you are writing, and you can even link to a competitor's website. I don't think this is any sort of anything that you should definitely avoid. Obviously, you're not trying to highlight your competitors' products and services, but if someone has produced a great piece of content, then share it, include the link in your blog post. I would suggest 2 to 3 links per blog post. It really helps your articles to be that much more relevant and that much more useful. It's not just about the text, you're also sharing resources. And it might not be a resource from a competitor, it might simply be an explanation of some other concept or a concept that is related to the one about which you are writing. So external links, links to other sites. That is going to help your SEO, your position in Google. Google takes all of these things as a sign that your site is useful and relevant. So the more effort you make to make your content useful and relevant, the more Google is going to recognize that. And linking internally is another way to show Google that you are providing valuable information. You should link to cornerstone content on your own site. So if you have several sub-articles, if you like, about a particular topic, and you have one main article or cornerstone content that might be a little bit longer, then it's probably advisable to link to that cornerstone content in the other articles. It's going to help that piece of content become that much more important and appear higher up in the search engine results. Try and include anchor text with your links as well. So something like click here is not going to be as effective as find out more about French to English translation services. So include anchor text that is relevant, that has appropriate keywords in it. And again, that is going to help you with your SEO. All of this is about providing a better experience for both users and for crawlers such as Google. And I'm sure you would agree when you look at that anchor text, click here, well, if you just glance at it, it's not very useful on its own, whereas find out more about French to English translation services is much, much more useful for a user. So these two things, what's useful for and effective for users and what's useful and effective for search engines, they don't need to be different. You don't need to do one thing for the users and one thing for the search engines. In fact, in general, if you do something that is good for users, it's also going to be good for the search engines. Let's talk about title tags now. Well, the title tag is the title of a particular web page, and just as the title of a book is very, very important, or the title of a chapter in a book is very, very important, the title of a web page is going to have a huge influence on whether that particular web page is effective or not. These are the titles that are going to be visible in the search engine results pages, and keywords are important in titles as well. So really think about how you construct a title. Try and include keywords. Try and include keywords towards the beginning of the title. Try to keep it to a certain length. There's lots of guidelines as to what is the right length for a particular title. And also start to think about long tail keywords. The fact is, it's going to be very difficult to rank for a keyword such as French to English translator. There's lots of competition for that keyword, and it could take you ages to really make an impact on Google. But in a long tail keyword such as French to English financial translator or French to English financial translator in London, well, you're going to be able to really have much more of an impact with a long tail keyword. But think about how the keywords work, think about how the titles work. And some titles that are really effective are top 10, so list posts, how to do something, help someone to solve a problem, answer a question preferably from your target market. So think about the titles when you're writing for the web, really, really important. What about the URLs? Well, just have a look at those two URLs up there on the page. And you can see that the first one, finishes with numbers and letters. And this is not a real URL, of course, but what can you tell about that first URL? Well, it doesn't really tell you much apart from that it's on the pros.com website. The second URL tells you much more about what is actually likely to be located there. So it's pros.com/translatortraining/group/self-paced. And that kind of friendly URL is also going to be much more effective in Google terms. So have a look at your own URLs. There is a way within WordPress to change the permalinks, as they are called, or this type of URL. So it's fairly easy to change, but just make sure that you are using friendly links. Once again, it's something that is friendly for the user, and it's also friendly or useful to Google. Image optimization is another key component in all of this. First of all, you should be using plenty of images. Text is simply not as attractive, and it's definitely not as attractive for web visitors. I think that web visitors are very accustomed to seeing a certain number of images. For example, in a blog post, it kind of brings the blog post to life. So important to include images while it's not the focus of this presentation. I should, of course, remind you that you must use images that you are legally allowed to use. Now, in terms of image optimization, it's not just about text in a blog post. Images can also have SEO value. But an image on its own is, well, just that. It's an image. It doesn't really contain anything. If you look at the image on the right, well, it's just an image. So in SEO terms, we need to give some further information in order to allow Google to recognize an image in SEO terms. And the main things that we're going to focus on is adding an image name and adding alt tags to that image. Those two pieces of information are absolutely valuable to Google and will allow it to recognize the image, and it will allow it to recognize the keywords within that image. I should also mention size. Don't use images that are too big on your website. It's simply going to slow it down and help you to move down in the Google rankings if you have images that are too cumbersome in there. So try and avoid large image sizes. Let me show you an example here. So this is an image that has been uploaded to a blog post. You can see the title of the image over there on the right, multilingual content creation. And I have also included the same keywords in the alt text, so multilingual content creation. When you go into WordPress and when you are editing and adding these images within the media library, it's very easy just to go in and change the title and change the alt text. And that is going to help you. It's a very simple thing to do, but it's going to help you in terms of Google. I'm sure you've seen the Google image search as well. So if you search for a certain term in Google and you have the option to browse through images, well, if you have your title and your alt text correctly set up, you have the opportunity to appear in those image searches. So little pieces of information, little pieces of data that are going to help you in terms of ranking. Okay, well, another thing I'd like to talk about is user experience and how this relates to the Google experience, if you like. So the first thing I'd ask is, how easy is it to navigate your site? How easy is it to get around? Do you have sections that are clearly laid out? Do you have easy to follow menus? Or is it all a bit cluttered and a bit confusing? Well, perhaps the best way to find out is to ask one or two friends to have a look over your site. Sometimes it's difficult for you yourself to do this because you know exactly how your site is set up and you know exactly where everything is. For you, it's completely normal, and perhaps it's easy to follow where it might not be for others. So I would suggest that you ask someone else to navigate your site and give you some feedback on that user experience. When you get someone on the site, what do you want them to do? Well, you want them to spend plenty of time on your site looking around at different things, and then perhaps you want them to take some action via a call to action, which we'll be coming onto in a little bit. What you don't want someone to do is to arrive on your website and not take any action whatsoever and then leave. That results in a bounce off your website and in a high bounce rate. Someone comes to your site, they don't do anything, and then they leave. That contributes to bounce rate. A high bounce rate is going to bump you down in the Google rankings, and therefore we don't want that. We want people to come, to our site, find interesting content, have a look around, and then take some kind of action. Also, be careful about the language settings on your website. I had an experience recently where I visited a website and it appeared automatically in Spanish. Well, that's great because I live in a Spanish-speaking country, but I preferred, in this case, I really wanted to navigate the site, to explore the details of the site in English, and there was no easy way to change the language back to English, although the website was from an American company. So what happened? I got a little bit frustrated with that website, and I actually left the website and I went to visit a competitor's website. So that's the kind of thing that can happen if you don't have things set up correctly. A poor user experience is going to lead someone to really leave your website, and obviously if they're not on your website, they're not going to take any kind of further action or buying decision related to you or your services. In the same way that you have your own website, I would like you to think in terms of your pros.com profile. Your pros.com profile has many characteristics that are similar to having your own website. So we can manage SEO, we can improve SEO on our pros.com profiles. The visitor to your pros.com profile is also going to have an experience, a user experience. What is it like for someone to visit your pros.com profile? Is it easy for them to understand the kind of person that you are and the services that you offer, the translation services that you are providing? Is that easy for them to deduce or to understand from a quick visit to your pros.com profile? Or is it cluttered and confusing and difficult to follow? Well, again, that's something that we should look at if we are going to be successful with our pros.com profile as well. I think you should think of both your pros.com profile and your website as your online homes. You should link from your website to your pros.com profile, and you should also link from your pros.com profile to your website. Remember that a link is going to help to improve your SEO. So why not link from your pros.com profile to your website, and from your website to your pros.com profile? That is only going to help. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the pros.com website. I'm going to have a look at some of these specific things that you can do in order to improve your pros.com profile. Okay, so you can see my profile here, and we have the different details about the services and so on. But what I really want to look at today is the SEO settings. So I'm going to go into settings here, and then I'm going to have a look down the left sidebar, and if you scroll down here, you will see a little section that is entitled Search Engine Settings. And this is quite interesting here because this is where you can enter the meta description and meta keyword tags used to enable search engines. As it says here, it's really worth reading some of these things on the pros.com website. They're very, very useful. So it says here, it's very important to use the best possible description of your site and include keywords within your description. Okay, so you can see the title here, and then I've got some meta keywords here. And I've got a meta description. Read the instructions here. It says you should enter your keywords related to your expertise, and it says you should use commas. Where does it say? Separate keywords with commas and do not include spaces after commas. So let's follow those instructions. Spanish to English, comma, investment management, comma. Okay, keywords are not case sensitive, etc. Right. And the meta description. Well, the meta description should in some way be related to the meta keywords. So I have a meta description that also highlights Spanish to English, and I have Spanish to English here in the meta keywords. So really think about some of the keywords that you're using in your profile, and perhaps include some long tail keywords. You can see here I have a mistake. I don't have a comma. I have a space there. There's no need for that space there. So let's correct that. And yeah, let's think about some of the longer tail keywords as well that are really going to have an impact on your profile. So perhaps here I'm going to add Spanish to English financial translator. So that's a longer tail keyword. Let's include that. There's also a useful document here, this article, that explains how to boost your profile traffic. So once again, there's so many useful resources on pros.com, and I think a number of us haven't really tapped into all of these resources. So it really explains the best way. Great article by Henry, really explains the best way to complete this section. In particular, I want to highlight here, it says enter a list of keywords optionally in several languages. Well, that's interesting. So one technique to consider for the keyword box is entering your most important keywords in all the languages in which you work. Terms like traductor can boost your traffic too. Okay, so let's go back to the previous section, and you can see here that I have the keyword traductor español inglés in Spanish, and I have traductor. So just trying to improve my profile a little bit by adding some keywords in another language. It's very, very simple to improve your profile, and I would bet that a number of you haven't looked at this section at all, or haven't looked at it in a very long time. So let's just have a look at it and see if you can improve your keywords, improve your meta description, and make sure that you have a profile that is attractive and that is easy to follow, and that is going to not only show up in the search engine results, but also have a good user experience as well. I'll come on to that in just a second. One final thing that I wanted to say about the search engine results is that, yes, it is difficult to optimize your pros.com profile to appear in the search engines for keywords such as Spanish to English translator or French to English translator. Those are high volume keywords. They're very, very competitive. So let's focus again, or let's not forget those long tail keywords. French to English financial translator, French to English specialist in whatever area it might be. Try and focus on those long tail keywords, and you will be able to rank both your website and your pros.com profile for those longer tail keywords. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my profile. So let's just click there. And if we scroll right to the bottom, there is the section entitled Bio. And this is really interesting because this is a full HTML section. So I'm just going to click Edit there. And what you can include in your bio, you can include links, you can include images. So you really should make use of this space. You can, for example, if you have a brochure, you can simply add the brochure here in as an image within your profile and make it that much more attractive. So I would suggest it's easier to go to the what you see is what you get editor. And for example, if you have an image here, you can just add an image, just like using a WordPress editor or something like that. So let's use this online space, let's use this real estate in order to publish things as completely as we can, and include links, include more information about your profile, so that when you have a visitor to your profile, it's going to be as interesting as possible, and it's going to be as clear as possible exactly who you are and what it is that you can offer. So that's what I wanted to say in terms of pros.com SEO settings and in terms of your profile. Another tool that I'd like to mention for SEO is the Yoast plugin for WordPress. This is a great plugin. There's a free version. It's easy to install. It's easy to use. And it takes care of so many things automatically. You don't need to be a developer. You don't need to be an expert programmer in order to succeed at this task. Let me show you what I mean here with a screenshot from the Yoast plugin at the bottom of a blog post. Well, this is an analysis that Yoast carries out based on the blog post. So you will see here on this particular blog post, I have no internal links. Make sure to add some. It just guides you through. It just makes it easy for you. So these ones that appear in red are things that need to be corrected. So SEO title width, the SEO title is wider than the viewable limit. Try to make it shorter. It just guides you through some things that can be improved and some good results. So in this particular blog post, I had some outbound links. I had a good key phrase length, a good key phrase density. I have the alt tags in the images, and I have a good text length, etc., etc. So having something like this is just really going to help you to manage your blog post. It just makes it so easy. Once again, we don't need to be experts in everything. Let's use the tools that are available to us, and a free version of the Yoast plugin is definitely going to help your WordPress blog, in my opinion. Okay, well, I think we've covered many things on this slide already. I'll just highlight the importance of getting the most out of your pros.com profile, using long tail keywords, and making sure your profile is correctly completed, and also make the most of what pros.com has to offer in terms of the different sections, in terms of the fact that you can use HTML in the About Me section or in the bio. So take advantage of that. Right, well, let's have a look at some off-page SEO now. So the kinds of things that you can do in order to boost your ranking by taking action off your web page. And perhaps the most important of these is link building. If you can build links to your site, known as backlinks, from other websites for particular keywords, then that is going to help to improve your ranking. Well, how can you get these backlinks? Well, we talked about having a link from your pros.com profile to your own website. Well, that's going to help improve your ranking. That is a backlink. You can also get backlinks from guest posts. You can also get backlinks by producing great content that others want to link to, that others would like to share. You can exchange links with colleagues, so you can link to their website and they can link to yours. You can advertise your services in online directories with a link back to your website. Now, not all links are equal, of course. The higher the ranking or the page rank of the website from which you get the link, the more valuable Google is going to consider that link. So high value links are important, not just links from anywhere. And the other thing that I would think that the other thing that's worth mentioning is that some links are do follow links. Those are the kind of links that we want. And the other, they provide us with some of that SEO link juice, if you like. And other links are no follow links. No follow links really don't pass the SEO value through to your site. So if you get a link from social media, for example, then that is likely to be a no follow link. Now, many people think that no follow links have no value, but I think that they do have some value, but they definitely don't have as much value as a do follow link. So you really want to get high quality links from high authority websites that refer back to your website. That is going to help you to increase your ranking. Social media, even though it does have that no follow limitation sometimes, social media is a great way, through great platform or series of platforms through which to share your content and really get those links back to your website. Local SEO is important as well. I mentioned appearing in directories. That is going to boost your rank. One of the most important, I feel, is Google My Business. If you have a Google My Business page, if you have your page ranking in Google locally, then that can be very, very effective. You can ask your clients for Google reviews. You can build those Google reviews up over time. And as long as those Google reviews are positive, that is going to have a very positive effect on your business. And that is a form, perhaps one of the most important forms of local SEO. So Google My Business. If you haven't got a Google My Business listing, I would really suggest that you get one. Really easy to apply to through Google. You just request the listing, they'll send you a little code, you upload the code, and then you are pretty much all set, and you can start receiving reviews for your business, which will help you to rank. Finally, I wanted to mention Black Hat SEO. Now, I'm sure you've heard this term. Black Hat sounds a little bit like something out of Harry Potter, but they do use these terms. These terms are commonly used. So white hat, black hat, and even grey hat. Well, white hat refers to strategies that are good, they're honest, they're ethical, and fairly obviously, black hat is then refers to strategies that are perhaps not so ethical or might not be seen so well in Google's eyes. Let's put it that way. So let me give you an example. I mean, a black hat strategy would not focus on quality link building. It would focus on simply going out and getting loads of low quality links from websites that are perhaps not reputable, but it would give you links, but those links might be very low quality. There's many people offering black hat SEO out there, but there is a problem, and I want you to be conscious of this, and I want you to be careful with it, because everyone wants to improve their Google ranking, and there's an easy way to do it, and there's a hard way to do it, and there's a right way to do it, and a wrong way to do it. And the right way to do it is to build up content and to build up genuine backlinks over time. And the wrong way to do it is to go out to a platform where someone is offering 5,000 gazillion backlinks for $10 and buy those backlinks. Because if you're not sure, and I'm not saying that all of those kind of offers or all of those kind of gigs are bad, some of them can be really good and can actually help you in SEO terms, but you need to understand how it works, because it could actually be detrimental to your site. So Google could penalize you if you do something like that, and if it becomes apparent that you are trying to game the system. So the best strategy is white hat SEO. Do things right, do things over the medium term, and you will help to get your site ranked highly in Google. Let's have a little chat now about landing pages and calls to action. Well, SEO is, as I mentioned at the beginning, designed to increase the quality and quantity of traffic going to your web page. But when they get there, what are they going to do? And this is what I would like you to think about now. So we mentioned bounce rate. We don't want people to come onto our website and then simply leave. We want them to perhaps look around, read an article, but then sooner or later, we want them to take some action. What kind of action would you like someone to take when they are on your website? Well, I know for most translators, they would like that visitor to ask them for a quote. They might want them to call them up. They might hope that they fill in a contact form. Whatever it might be, you generally want someone to take action, because if they don't take action, then that's not going to help your translation business. So we focused on SEO, which is all about encouraging visitors to get to our site, but what would you like to encourage a visitor to do when they get there? Well, this is where a landing page can come in. A landing page might be your home page, or it might be another page on your site. Let's say a page that focuses on a particular part of your translation offering. Let's say legal translation. So you might have a page that is dedicated to legal translation and explains why you are a fantastic legal translator in a particular language pair, the best French to English legal translator or something like that, and it takes the visitor through some key reasons why they should consider working for you. So that's really, a landing page should be nice and easy to follow and should give some key reasons as to why someone should consider working with you. And at the end of that landing page, what you want is this call to action. You want a button. You want somewhere where someone can click and take the next step. So let's have a look at that in a little bit more detail. Well, a landing page should have a great headline. It's important to be clear what it is that you are offering. It should have carefully written copy, of course, but you're all great writers, so I'm sure you won't have any problems with that. I like to see clean and modern designs, and I like to see as well a customer focus. What is it that you are going to offer your potential clients or your customers? Remember, this is not all about you. It's not all about your qualifications, although of course they are relevant. It's about how your qualifications can help that potential customer. So let's have a customer focus. It would be great to see some social proof or testimonials on a landing page as well. Some comments from third parties that are going to give that potential buyer confidence in your service. And finally, that all-important call to action. What action would you like someone to take? Where are they going to click? What is the next step that they are going to take when they are on your website? Well, let's have a couple here. You can imagine these boxes just at the end of that, at the bottom of that landing page, just really encouraging people to take the next step. Get a free quote, get a free quote. Well, that should probably, in most cases, take the visitor to a contact form, which they will then fill in. Again, contact us. Take someone to a contact form on your website, ask them to fill in the contact form, and then you get the sales process going. You might have a button that is a little less direct, find out more, for example. You'll notice that these buttons are all slightly or quite bright colors, and that is quite common among call to action buttons. So you can put your call to action buttons in a slightly different color. I really like the greens and the oranges. Whatever the colors are on the website, if you have your call to action button in a different color, they're just going to stand out that little bit more. If you want someone to call you, then change the button. Have the button saying, call us today. But you will appreciate, I'm sure, that most visitors to a website, they have the mouse in their hand, they're sort of navigating from page to page. They want to click somewhere, so give them that option. Give them the option to get that free quote, to contact you, and to get the ball rolling. So calls to action, so important. No good having great SEO, no good having a great landing page if there is no subsequent action for that visitor to take. So please think about your calls to action on your website. Just another word about your pros.com profile and ranking. Don't forget the pros.com ranking tool. The link is there. You can check your ranking in pros.com much as you can check your ranking in Google. So you can check it for your specific areas of specialization, and you can check it for your specific language pairs. It will also tell you, if you visit that link, it will also tell you how you can improve your ranking. You can, of course, improve ranking with membership and by answering kudos questions. So don't forget that. Focus on your pros.com ranking and focus on your Google ranking. You should consider these as a translator, I think, as your two homes online. So try and optimize those two homes so that you appear higher up in the search engine results. Finally, how can you test your website? I mentioned very briefly today about the importance of having a fast loading website where you can check the speed of your website using the Pingdom speed test. There are others, of course, but you can try that link and see how many seconds it takes for your site to load, and it will also give you some indications as to how to improve that. You can go into a more detailed site audit with SEOsitecheckup.com as well. There are many other similar services. A lot of these services are paid services, but you can usually get an initial report for free. You can get some idea of how your website stacks up for free. And also don't forget your pros.com profile. How is your profile looking? How does your profile stack up against other people's profiles? Have a look at some other people's profiles and see how their profiles compare. That will give you an idea. And remember to ask third parties. Remember to ask a friend or a colleague to check your website and to check your pros.com profile. So testing, very important. Test your online digital assets periodically to see how you are doing. Finally, what if you are not a developer in all of this? Well, I am certainly not a developer, and you don't need to be a developer in order to have great websites. WordPress helps enormously with this because WordPress is a system that is very easy to follow. You don't need to be an expert coder or anything like that. WordPress offers a range of themes that are easy to install and easy to change. There's also a range of easy-to-use plugins, such as the Yoast plugin, that really help you to set up your website very, very easily, help you to optimize your website easily without being some kind of developer. So I think nowadays this is much, much easier than it used to be. And if you do need a developer, well, check out Upwork, check out freelancer.com or peopleperhour.com. There are many people online who will be able to help you. But there is a lot of this that you can do yourself. It's really easy to improve at over time, and you can build a website that's going to have a great design, offer a great user experience, and also help you to rank in Google. Finally, next steps, well, I would really recommend that you set aside some time each month to work on your site. This should be a regular thing, as should posting regular content. No good posting content only at the beginning and then just leaving it. Google is going to be analyzing your site and checking for updates. So if you post content, relevant and interesting content on a regular basis, then your site is going to rank better. And yeah, check your site on a periodic basis just to make sure that everything is running smoothly. Okay, well, that wraps up today's presentation. Thank you very much for watching.
لو انت بتشوف ده دلوقتي ده معناه انك وصلت لنهايه الفيديو. اتمنى تكون استفدت من المحاضره، واتمنى تكون حصلت او لقيت اللي انت بتبحث عنه. لو المحاضره كانت مرضيه بالنسبه ليك، ما تنساش تسيب تعليق عن درجه رضائك عن المحاضره او القناه بشكل عام. ولو المحاضره ما كانتش في اهتمامك، سيب لنا تعليق باهتماماتك او اللي بتبحث عنه، وان شاء الله نقدمه لك. كمان ما تنساش تدعمنا بلايك سبسكرايب في القناه عشان نقدر نستمر، واقترح علينا موضوعات نقدر ننشرها ان شاء الله. واشوفكم في فيديوهات تانية، والسلام عليكم ورحمه الله.
لا تنسوا الإعجاب بالفيديو والاشتراك في القناة تشجيعا لنا لنستمر بنشر المزيد إن شاء الله.